Hey everyone, this is Sparda's World Podcast, episode 44. Your host, Sparda 3G, and this is going to be a pretty short edition of the podcast. Two reasons. One, it has to do with One Piece, and that is taking a break from this week, so we won't get another chapter until next week. Of course, we are talking about the league schedule, but you know what I mean. Anyway, we're not going to have any One Piece review today, nor is going to be in the rankings. And two, and lastly, it has to do with Tokyo Ghoul. Now, it's not taking a break. At least that's what I think it's not. But the new problem occurred, and for the fans who's waiting for the fan translation, actually, I think that's the only way we could get our source. I think that's the only way we get our chapter, if I recall correctly. The Imperial scans. Well, they have closed down. And because there's a lot of it's been stressful for them. There's a lot of work has to be done. They have a lot of, life issues as well. So they want to take care of all that. And, I don't think they're that big of a group, if I recall. So they have to close down. They decided to do this. And they also decided to try to pass it down to manga stream. If you're a person that reads manga stream chapters, for like Nanosu no Taizai, Fairy Tail, Bleach, and so on. If you get that source, well, that's a good news then. Unfortunately, as at this time, they are not really ready to translate Tokyo Ghoul because, it's just a sudden turn that happened. I believe the Imperial scans just closed down on around Friday. Then again, I only found out the news around Friday, so I don't know if it really happened on Thursday or maybe earlier. But as far as my knowledge goes, it was on Friday. So, yes, if there is Tokyo Ghoul chapter, it is technically out there in terms of spoilers, of course. If they are out there, I have not read the spoilers. I have no idea what is happening, and it sucks because I do know the last chapter left off a huge cliffhanger, but then we have this whole close down. Now, I understand the situation. I understand that, and I respect that. And, I applaud them to do this decision, and I applaud them for giving us these chapters for the past, months and months. So, it's good for them to have to move on, and manga stream is going to take over. Unfortunately, they're not ready yet. I mean, that's expected. It did happen so sudden. So, hopefully, once they get their source, they get the materials ready, then we can start seeing an early release as possible, which should be a good news for all of us. And the good thing is, the scans quality are pretty good. So, I'm happy for that. I'm just not happy at the moment because we're not getting any chapters. So, therefore, there won't be any review, nor be in a ranking list for Tokyo Ghoul Re. That gotta suck, and that's why this week podcast is gonna be a short one. Though I am planning to do some a little more flavor into the podcast next week. So at least I'll be starting doing that. I'm gonna start doing like more organized ways to get everything on schedule, on order. In order, because I guess every time when I'm trying to do it on a 1 day basis, it's like, oh crap, I gotta get all of my sources again. I mean, I have gathered them, but I often forget to get the majority of one. And well, we're not gonna get there. As you see the beginning of the intro, we will not get there. But do keep that in mind because it is a serious situation, everyone. Okay, so. Not much going on, the whole anime is still going on, the whole fall 2015 is going on. There's been a lot of hype, a lot of a advertisement that's coming from the spring 2016 already, and Boku no Hero Academia is in fact coming to an anime, and we just found out. I know this happened last week, which I wish I did it the last week podcast, but it was a tight schedule case. If you have read already, Boku no Hero Academia anime adaptation is being handled by Studio Bone Studio. That's right, the guys that did the Full Metal Alchemist, or pretty much the studio that does anything that pretty much always have his own original ending, but at the same time they actually can be good. Unless you're really one of those fans that really despise on not finishing what the manga left off, then this is something you might not like. But I do think it's safe to say that the studio, the production, and everything like about the animation, art design, the soundtracks, the directing, I do think this is a really good studio, and I think Boku no Hero Academia is going to be on safe hand. Most definitely better safe hand than Toei Animation or even Studio Paria. One out of those two are going to mess it up. Arguably, Toei is going to do it much worse, as everybody would think they might pull a Toriko on it. And granted, that could happen. That would have happened, maybe. I don't know, but whatever. It doesn't matter. We got Studio Bone. That's best we can go. They are doing a hell of a job with Noragami Arigato. I forgot the name. I'm sorry, guys. But they are doing a hell of a job, even though I do remember that people complain about the first season. But now the second season, all has been dropped. Unless until we get to the ending. And then everything comes back again. But still, I keep that in mind that they still handle one of the better production of the studios from, compared to those two I just already mentioned. So, come on, you got to be happy that Boku no Hero Academia is, in fact, being handled by one of the bigger studio in terms of production value. I can't say this is the most popular. I remember there was a list. Fans best studios, the anime studios. I don't remember where Bones landed at, but either way, the production is still shown. They know how to handle it. They know how to direct. So I think they'll be in safe hand. I do think the director is going to be the guy that does Fullmetal Alchemist. So that's really going to be they're definitely in safe hand, and I'm really happy for Boku no Hero Academia and Hori. The mangaka himself, getting this reputation it deserves. I know Shonen Jump, they're pushing the series very hard as of now because they really want to bank on the idea that you're going to have a new high seller series. It has a potential. It does. It's doing good without anime at this time. Over 200,000 volumes from every new volume released. Not in the first week, but it always happened like around a week plus. So that's a good sign. I don't know how much the anime will do it, but you could start advertising, and it's in the Shonen Jump. It's in the magazine, so it's always going to get that huge push. And everybody always read. A lot of people read Shonen Jump magazine, weekly Shonen Jump, that is. Everybody reads it in there. A lot of people. So they all familiar with the series. They all familiar with the magazine, so they will get the attention. So, I mean, like, I know people might think it might end up being like Sokugeki no Soma. Well, that's a cooking manga, though. Cooking is harder to please the audience, but it still got a good boost, a really good boost. It took a while, but it really got a good boost. Now, when it comes to battle manga, this could do it. This could really help. Maybe it won't be a million seller. I'll be surprised, kind of, but it definitely could be, something that Toriko is supposed to be doing, or at least was doing before the anime stopped. I mean, I think Toriko did like over 300,000, and now it's like doing so little now. It's losing more and more, and maybe that's the case, or maybe it'd be like Bleach. I don't know. Anything is possible, but it's good to know they're getting an anime adaptation. Good to know that Bonus is doing the work, and yeah, I'm just can't wait to see it. I feel like this anime might happen around spring. The way how they advertise it, the way how they bring in all these staff members already, and they already got one art visual. It looks promising already. It could happen in spring, if not summer. I do think spring might happen. I willing to bet that it's gonna happen in spring. So, speaking of anime seasonal. We still have fall, which is is ongoing. I believe, technically speaking, we're halfway done, and we do have one news for one series called Osama-san. It's a comedy series. It's based on the Osama-kun, which is a pretty old series, actually, like more than 50 years ago, I believe, and it's it's well known in Japan, especially old era people. They're fans of the old era. It's well known, and this series is pretty much it's like a sequel in a way, and because they all grown up now, they're now old adults, and they all doing their things differently. The comedy, I don't know how the comedy works in the old one, but this comedy is pretty much. Well, the thing is, the Gintama director is doing this series, and it's pretty much, you get the idea, it has that Gintama-esque feeling in some form of way, especially with the whole, that kind of joke, poop jokes and stuff like that. But anyway, my point is, this series is going to have 2 core now. So we're actually going to all the way to the winter 2016. So that's good news. If you want more comedy, this is it right here. Now there's some funny news about that series, since, we're talking about this whole Gintama directing stuff like that. And if you have watched Gintama, if you read Gintama, whatever, you would know there's a lot of parodies. You would know there's a lot of in jokes that say to himself, like, we're gonna get sued by the copyright guys and stuff like that. And Osama's Son did not really get excused from this. In fact, they got a lot of trouble, apparently. Now, if you have heard already, episode 3, supposedly they got in trouble because they was making fun of Appamon, which is a very popular series for kids. And I guess the CEO, I forgot who, the higher ups did not like it, because it's like, oh no, this is making fun of the kids' very popular show. We wanted to alternate that. So they alternate one. And they did a lot of alteration. And I know a lot of people feel it's a little bit like, what the hell? Is this really necessary? And it seems like they really are being a hard ass on this whole thing. It is overreacting. I will give it that. It is overreacting, at least to me. I understand it's a popular series, but if Osama's Son is supposedly aired on a late show, in a late time or whatever, on a time, I think it's not a late time, but still, it feels like a lot of series could get away with it. It's just not good time out of it. Yeah, Osama's Son is getting really punishment from this whole making fun of, and it's weird because why the director didn't know about the whole strict policy that the series has. But I don't know about the whole thing. Now the one that everybody got the whole all controversial talk is the first episode. Now, arguably, the first episode is where everybody actually get the attention of Osama's Son. And, a lot of people felt like they're disappointed when episode 2 and up hits, and they feel like it's not the same. They feel like they peaked their jokes on episode 1, and because episode 1 is pretty much all parody, and pretty much the story about episode 1 is pretty much how to fit into today's world. So they make fun of a lot of things. They get the idols. They're doing an Attack on Titan. They're showing the popular sports series that's going on. And, there's a lot of copyright moments. So, with episode 1 being that case, they have to take it down. And a lot of people were upset. They're taking it down. They're removing it from Crunchyroll, no less. So if you're a person that subscribes to Crunchyroll, well, too bad, because it's getting taken down. And you have to look elsewhere if you catch my drift. So now episode 1 is taken down. The Blu-ray release is not going to have episode 1 as well. It's going to have a lot of, they're going to have it, but it's going to be very alternate. I'm not sure how much exactly. I'm not sure if it completely changed the episode. I'm not sure it's just going to have a lot of changes that just feels like, maybe it feels like out of place. I don't know what happens, but I guess that's what makes everybody buy the DVD, Blu-ray, to see the curious say, how the series goes, how it works, maybe because of that controversial, maybe that will bring out the sales of the series. But yeah, they're removing the original season, episode 1. So I have no idea why they had to react. And people have been asking why Gintama got away with this. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know. I really don't know. Some say they do get away with it for a while, and then they actually get in trouble later on. That might be true. I don't know. I haven't followed Gintama since, just now. I really don't know the situation on that. Maybe it have connections. I don't know. I mean, they could do Gundam jokes because they're under influenced by Sunrise back then. Though I did hear they changed it in the DVD release, but I could be wrong, so I don't know anything about it completely. Gintama just got away for the most part. Maybe because the way how they parody isn't too direct, as Osama-san was very direct and is very obvious. Like, that came from Attack on Titan. It came from Haikyuu. It came from any other series, Naruto, Sailor Moon, Virtual Fighter. So I don't know how Gintama get away. Like I said, my guess is probably because they are more clever that way to make a parody without being too in your face, while the other one was very in your face. But who knows? It sucks that episode 1 has to get changed. And again, the best way to see the episode is just go alternative place, like Kiss Anime. So yep, man, that's the case. It's very controversial. But let's not go to the controversial stage. Let's go to a normal one. And the good news, One Punch Man has been doing a hell of a job with his anime so far. And as you already heard the first news about the whole 10th volume is going to be bundled with the OVA One Punch Man, which should be fun to see. I don't know what it will be about. Either a brand new story or it could be one of those side story that the manga already have, but in animated form, which would be great. And now they just released a new news that One Punch Man Blu-ray DVD release is going to bundle OVA. Now, that's the first news. But then we find out they're going to bring 6 more OVA. 6 more. I feel like they really want to bring all the side story to the anime television form. But maybe they just we don't have that many time. So let's just make straight up main story, which is actually still good. And also it does help with the money, because you want to buy the Blu-ray to see the more episodes. You want to see more OVA, more original content. So why not? How about buying those DVD and Blu-ray? And it's kind of funny because it made it seem like it is a side story right there. Side story equal OVA. Now, I don't know if they are based on the side story from the manga. I will like that. I will hope for that. But original content is a welcome addition as well. I mean, they have been doing additional content from Madhouse themselves. They're inserting them in the anime, and they actually properly felt good. They actually fit in well. It didn't feel like it created a whole new direction in a bad way. It feels like it just made extension that actually put more in depth of the characters. So, I'm welcome for whatever the case may be. I hope they're good if they are very original, but I do think they're gonna be good. I mean, Madhouse has been doing a hell of a job in production and handling the entire episode themselves from the chapters releases. So that's really damn good, and I hope somebody out there is buying the Blu-ray, DVD, whatever the case may be, and translate for us, because it'll be, it'd be nice to see, and it's something we can get it from any streamer site, including the official ones. Maybe I could be wrong with the officials. Maybe they would be nice enough to actually do something that has OVA content, but we have to wait and see. And lastly, well, this part I have to speak about, because even though it's not about the anime news in terms of Blu-ray releases, DVD releases, controversial, whatever, it has to do with Gintama. And I know I don't review Gintama in here. I don't talk about it here that much, only in the ranking, but that's about it. I talk about this and that, and part of me probably want to start reviewing. Maybe I will start doing one day. I'll see when I can make the schedule. But anyway, now Gintama, it seems like it might go 4 core. Actually, I do think it's going 4 core. It has to go 4 core. But, on one hand, it's a bit sad and a bit disappointing, I guess, that the anime is going to skip a lot of arcs that's actually not just funny, but they're really well told. A really good story and a really good, there's a lot of good moments. There's fun moments. They're fun. And it is pretty needed because if you realize, if you know that because the next arc is going to be one of the most heavy lifting, story driven, extremely I can't say depressing, but it'd be extremely investment of your time arc, and that's the Shogun Assassination arc. Now, out of my way of my disappointment of not seeing the other arcs, I am so hyped to see what's coming next, and I know from the manga standpoint that it was excellent. It was a great arc. It was hell of a story driven. It was insane. It was intense. And I believe it's something that every fans or every newcomer should check it out themselves and see why this series kicks ass. And they released the trailer, and I was already awed by this trailer. It's already showing, it shows a lot of highlights. Not the many highlights that would spoil the entire story itself, but you get the idea what's going to be, who's going to be involved, what's the story, what kind of things to look forward to. It's a lot of things to unfold, and I'm really hype. And I can't even see it again unless I go to the stream site. Any stream site, I have to go there. It's a trailer, and I can't even see it in YouTube. Only could see a very high, lower pitch version, a slowed down video. Why? I don't get it. What YouTube is doing? The guy did it safe because he don't want to get copyright problems. I understand that. But since when the trailer has to be this strict? Even trailers? I can understand music. Fine. You could do something with the music. It's annoying, even though it's not like we're not going to buy them. We could buy them. We still buy them. It's about understanding what we're getting. It's about hearing what we're going to get in order to confirm our purchase or not. So why are they doing that? I don't get it. Don't you know every abridge they all do that? Please support the official release. They all do that. So because we do support them, I support the official release. I read Tokyo Ghoul, fine. And then guess what? I buy the volume because I thought it was good and I thought it deserved my attention. That's how everybody get the advertisement. You're telling us that we got to keep guessing ourselves? The magazine subscription doesn't even have that yet. So how do you think I'm going to get my source? What about Gintama? I don't think anybody got Gintama manga official. It's not like we're not going to support them. We will support them. Anyway, get back to this Gintama thing. Again, I couldn't see the trailer. I had to go back to see the episode again. Not entirely, but I had to go all the way back. But it is a hard stretch because, you got to load it up. You got to fast forward and everything. But either way, I saw the trailer again and again and again. It's so excited. I'm very, very excited to see this trailer. Very excited to see this arc unfold. I really like the fact they actually use one of my favorite manga chapter cover of Gintama. The one he's just there looking out there with a burning castle and everything, looking all cool in there. Yeah, I really like the fact they actually added that. That was a nice touch of the studio to put that. But yes, all this hype about this assassination and Shogun art. This supposedly, according to what they interviewed the voice actors, this is going to be the longest arc of all Gintama thus far. And that's a great news because not only this arc is legitimately long itself, but this one needs all the time it needs. It doesn't need to go 6 episodes. I mean, you could do that for a lot of past arcs, but I guess a lot of people got a bit afraid that it's going to happen with this one. But now it seems like we're going to take our time. I do believe we're going to go all the way to the third core, and it seems like just because the fact that we should go into this arc much earlier than expected, especially we skip a lot of smaller and not more comedy arcs, which many of them are pretty good too, but I guess we had to skip them. But I do believe they're doing that because they're going to take a lot of time with the Shogun Assassination arc, and to the point they probably ended with that arc, or they might try to bunch in the other arc, but I don't know. It's gonna be another long arc, So I think, this third quarter, and it is at the end. It's almost at the end. Especially it's not starting next week. It's starting 2 more weeks. It's starting December 2nd. So right now we're still clearing out with the last 2 episodes. That's just like a side story. So this one is going to be long. The core is already almost over for the third quarter, I mean. And we all, winter 2016 is about to start. So I do think we might we may either end it barely with the Shogun Assassination arc, or we're just gonna go with the another arc again. Or maybe this series might cut much shorter. It might cut like not around episode 50 or anything like that, or might cut shorter like maybe 40s. Man, I don't know. Anything is possible. We'll see how this works. But I'm definitely excited to see it. 2 more weeks, and then the excitement will just keep going and going and going. A lot of people who have not read the manga, you're in for a hell of a treat, because this arc really kicks ass. This arc was what one other series should have been doing in terms of investment, in terms of a crazy, just an emotional drive of this arc, especially the battles, the fighting, the flashbacks, the emotional sense. Everything about it was done right. And the other series, I couldn't even ask why you didn't do it this way. Instead, you stretch it for so damn long. It happens to a lot of series, but come on. If Gintama could do this right, why can't you? So that's all the news. It's going to be short still because I only got 1 chapter to review, but that is not to say that I did not read the other series chapters. So I'm going to get to that before we head over to the Fairy Tail review. So on to the power ranking. Weekly chapter rank is going to be so small compared to the other times. Unless the other time they were more smaller. I don't remember. But this one, boy, is it really... We're missing 3 chapters. And I know I already talked about that we're missing the Tokyo Ghoul and One Piece. One Piece is already given. Tokyo Ghoul is unfortunate moments, but that's what happens. I just learned that there is no spoilers because there is something that I forgot to discuss earlier in this podcast. Actually, I didn't forget. It's more like I saved it for the Q&A. And there's only one question. And it's a major one. And I will get to that when we get to that. So, the other series I didn't get translated yet is Boku no Hero Academia. So I didn't have no new chapter for that one either. And it does connects to the one that I was mentioning about early just now. So it's gonna be a bit more messy. I don't know if it's gonna be messy just like before I started doing the podcast, or it's gonna be much worse. I hope it's not much worse. I hope things get resolved, but it doesn't seem like it might. It's going to be some controversial in the case of the fan who is just waiting for fan translation, especially when there's a series that didn't get their translation. And I do know that there are some series that do get official translated, and it's coming out, I believe, on Monday. So that's a good news for people who subscribe to that place, but they don't want to be subscribers. They want to get the chapter early and everything like that. Now I understand that. My only pet peeve is the idea that some series is not getting translated, and therefore, if we get no translation, we are screwed. But let's not talk about that for now. So let's talk about this weekly chapter ranking. There are 6 chapters I read that hasn't been officially released, and let's get to it. Number 6, Bleach, chapter 651. This leaves a very love-hate chapter mix. I landed on the former. I can't say I love this chapter. Like, it's a great chapter. I'm okay with it. I was okay with the chapter. There's nice backstory. Granted, you could argue that it did come out of nowhere. It just came in like nothing. Kubo has that kind of writing that he actually does insert. But, this one never had any ground. So I will excuse it because he used the advantage of opening gap, and I used the advantage of the relationship. So I'm okay with that. The only part that is really, and there's some good parts. There's really good elements, a good relation talk, the good interaction and everything. And it has a nice cliffhanger. even though a lot of things were very convenient, and I do mean that. So it was not bad. I landed to the like side. I could see why people don't like it. It's understandable, but I just like it. Number 5, Fairy Tail Chapters 461. This was a decent chapter. It did help me, rejuvenate a bit of hope with the Spriggan 12, especially the fact that we get to see Bad in the real form, his real life form, and he's actually much worse than the robotic form. So it's not like he's just a robot. He's actually a human being that created his own self, but in a robotic form. So this one is actually much worse. Not much to say. It was very good timing to show Ichiya, we care about you. Watch, you're proving it right in this random moment. Boom. See, there you go. Fixed justice is served. But then at least the cliffhanger does leave a good note that it's not going to be just fairy tales. It's actually going to be everybody that's in the continent. So that's a good thing to see. We should be seeing more diversity, more characters fighting that we never seen in a full-fledged fight. Should be fun. I'm hoping that's the case. I'm happy that it is the case. In terms of not having Fairy Tail to do all the work, because that would be kind of boring. So yeah, that's good to know. Number 4, Nanosuna Taizai, Chapter 149. This was a fun chapter, if anything. This is pretty straightforward beatdown from Escanor into Galen. And he really made Galen into his, It was a really good reaction, really good moments, really good panels. It's a really fun chapter. And Galen is defeated at the end in an ironic way, but I really like it. So it's a good thing to how it plays down. So we'll see how the next chapter folds. But man, Escanor already live up to the hype. I always find him the most interesting of all the 7 Deadly Sins. Number 3, Sokugeki no Soma, Chapter 143. This was a pretty fun chapter and a nice chapter, no less. Rindu just continued to be great in this chapter. I just love her interaction. I love her expressions, her facial expression, his comedy one, even the scary one. Jeez, but yeah, this is a fun chapter. I really like Soma as always, and it's nice to see how the Polo Star Dorm, fighting back, and has some little history behind it, which I would like to know the history itself, if anything, but. Maybe we would get it one day. Maybe a side chapter. That would be nice. So, the battle is officially on. Yes, surprise, surprise. Aizen can, in fact, cook. We'll find out soon enough. Maybe he's just a jobber, but who knows. But it has a good, nice art of always. Of course, it always have great art. And, yeah, the fight is on. Should be exciting to see. Number 2. Haku, Chapter 182. The game is already at its peak. The game is at the end. It's getting much scarier. 1 more point, 2 more points. It's getting intense. It's already driving me the feeling that I had back in the semifinal. Boy, it was. So this one is, not only gives you a lot of heart pumping scene, but it's just like a lot of hype that's going down for the next chapter, with the next chapter having a color chapter and everything. But this chapter itself, a lot of play-by-play, a lot of smart thing, a lot of emotional investment from the character, the outside bystanders, the inner court. Everything about it is really good. And pretty much the next chapter might be the end of be all, So definitely can't wait for the next chapter. That one has my hype a lot. And number 1, Gintama Chapter 564. It's a great, hell of a fighting chapter. A great set piece, action set. It's just really hell of a chapter, if anything. Kasura is just damn good. We're so used to his comedy side. We're so used to him doing some cool moments as well. But this one, he was full-fledged badass. He was kicking ass. Shogokaku, he was being a badass himself. Everything about it was so good. And the whole fight entitles to an entire development, the entire build-up from the beginning of the fight, the entire theme of this whole arc, and the fight itself. So everything felt good. The ending, it felt like if felt very symbolic way in a literal and a metaphorically speaking, which I thought it was a clever way. It's funny, and it's best if you're not throwing in the face before you say I get it, but you get the idea how it's trying to say. Other than that, it's definitely a fun chapter. The next fight should be Sakamoto, but we'll see who we really focus next. But definitely a hell of a chapter. And that's it. No Tokyo Ghoul, no Boku no Hero Academia, no One Piece. And let's get to Fairy Tail review. And don't worry, I will address why we didn't get those three. Well, actually, why we didn't get Boku no Hero Academia, since that one's getting affected most at this time. It would have been One Piece, but we get to it when we get to it.
Where are you going? 光全部集めて君の明日照らすよ
So the only chapter that managed to make it in is Fairy Tail, chapter 461. This was more of a build-up for what's coming next, or upcoming, whatever the case may be, where these new reinforcements are going to head to the Fairy Tail location, or either just getting involved with the battle against the Spring and 12, the Alvarez Empire and all. But this was for what it is, it's a decent chapter. It's more of a build-up, as I say. So it's just a cool-down moment. I thought we were going to cool down a bit more, as in like everything could re-strategize and they could just relax for a bit, talk to Brandish and get some more detail. They could still do that, but I guess we're going to start having more and more battles, and we're just going to keep going with the action. But this is still a cooldown as much as it can be, since Ichiya, now that the fight is over, he finally get his rant out of the way, and he does have a lot of the thing to say, or rather the same thing to be said, because he is still frustrated at the fact that there's no much loving for Ichiya himself. So, because, he's with the Laxus and his men, he's with them, and now he's like, none of the villains out of the way, I can finally rant my problems. And you know what? I have a lot. And it's the fact that you don't show me loving. And it all started a while back. And that's where we see in the flashback, which I kind of find it amusing to see the same camera angle for Ichiya. It's the exact same position, but the background image is always different. It's always with the fairy tale, want to get the friend back, let's do this, let's go out there, this is the best, family, being the family is the best, one running away, them being energetic, as always when it comes to fairy tale, but Ichiya's just there, just looking at them, same camera angle for the 5 panels. It's just kind of funny to see it that way. But yeah, that's pretty much his problem. Not much loving for him. Everybody's just on their own world, and he hasn't experienced this since the time they flew off to get Nasu and the other guys. And he doesn't get that much respect. So he's like, wow, I've been pushed over. I've been like a third wheel, or whatever, how many wheels in this case, because nobody give a crap about him. And the fact that Christina, the ship, needed time to refuel and everything, but then they all just marching in, going there. The Alvarez attack, and now he's all pissed off. Funny because he didn't look so pissed off, but again, now that the problem is solved, he is pissed off. And where the headpiece of bad is in fact still alive, and it went to self-destruct mode. So hey, it's trying to kill everyone before it kills itself. Funny. Well, when you think about it, the last chapter did indicate it was not completely dead. So I give it that to Mashima. It's just that this whole, rant that Ichiya went through just happens to be solved in this kind of fashion. So it's like, hey, there you go, we're even Steven. Even this guy said we're even Steven. So there you go. That's solved quickly. But I guess it gets to the point for the last part of the chapter, because, that's where Ichiya starts to send the words to everybody in the continent. So I guess that has to be served. And that's pretty much what that whole the main part of the beginning part of the chapter is about. Just Ichiya just ranting, raving, and then, everything is forgiven because they got saved, thankfully, in the right nick of time. Now, in the middle part of the chapter, we do get to see more of the Alvarez Empire of Spring and 12 members. We get to see Demira once again, but this time we get some strange guy who's like lay on the ground just being excited. And that is the guy that's known bad, or they call it Wow Itch. This is the real form. So, looking back at the last couple of chapters, Ajil being defeated, it's okay to me. I didn't get to talk about this last week because, I didn't have a podcast at the time. But Ajil being defeated, the way he being defeated, was okay to me. It was appropriate. It was acceptable. Bisca did the big shot, did the huge damage out of Ajil. So Urza just finished it. Now, yes, Urza win, LOL, but point is, she did get help. It's not one-on-one. I almost felt like there was going to be BS moments going to happen, but it didn't happen like that. It actually happened a much better way. It happened in a more reasonable way. If anything, it helped. It actually reinforced her speech that she always brag about friends. This one actually reinforced it for once. So, Ajil's defeat was appropriate to me. Brandish is obviously, there's more to her. It's just funny the way how she defeated. It has all that comedy sense stuff like that. Fine, whatever. Then Bad got defeated, and everybody thought Bad was out of the way. So we got one real defeat, one being captured in a goofy fashion, and another one getting defeated until now that we find out there is a real form. I guess that was expected when you think about it, but still, it does keep the Spring of 12 hype on a minimum level at the very least. It reinforced that these guys are no joke, and they did manage to hurt the Fairy Tail pretty bad, and they are coming their way. So it's not like they're like, okay, we want to send one reinforcement and do nothing else until tomorrow. At least these guys, they're already approaching to the location, and not only that, but managed to bring out the giant cannon of doom and shot it from, I think, 30 kilometer? Yeah. It is, he got a far range shot. He has a crazy technology magic trick on his sleeve, and boom, he shot it from deep. So waste no time to get it in there, and they shot it fire from deep. And Fairy Tail obviously noticed that beam coming their way, whatever it is, and some people started to run away. I found this one comment funny with the whole "Gil's gonna be destroyed again," because let's face it, they have a record of being destroyed. I think they got destroyed 3 times, 2 times. I think it was 3 times. Well, not really. I know the one after the time skip 7 years later, they weren't destroyed, but they were so poorly done. They were poor and everything. I guess you could say that's metaphorically saying they're destroyed, but I know they got destroyed at least twice, as far as my memory recalls. But it is rather funny. There's like, we're going to be destroyed again. It's like, yeah, because you're used to that right about now, guys. You're very used to that. So, lucky for them, again, all because at the beginning of the chapter, Ichiya did in fact bring the Christina and block the attack. Pretty much put the whole entire ship on the line and take all the hits for himself. But so I guess that's why we have that beginning chapter to be that way. Granted, it didn't need to be that way. It could just go straight to the point and just having him do the whole speech and everything. But I guess you need something to kill time, and I guess you need some little comedy moment with Ichiya, which I don't mind at all. It's just that it didn't advance the plot that much, or it didn't advance anything else. It was more of a build-up that was gonna come. Now we got more Spring and 12 coming in, and not only that, but Ichiya made a huge announcement to everybody in the continent to fight. Because this is not Fairy Tail's fight, it's everyone in their fight. It's everyone to fight. So we're going to see Sabretooth and the other guilds that we know from the Grand Tournament arc. So, yeah, that's actually good to know, because I like to see more diversity. I like to see more variety of kind of different type of battles. And Fairy Tail, they did their job back in Tartarus arc, so we need to freshen up a bit with a new kind of fighting, a new possibility of mixtures. So it should be interesting to see other characters do their fighting, and hopefully the councilman will show up soon. That would be a hell of a thing. I think they might show up when Lord Serena is going to show up in the battlefield. So everything seems like it's going well. I hope we don't drag. I hope we don't go focus on. Let's see. Let's focus on. Let's focus on Rogue. Let's focus on Rogue. Let's have a volume length of him fighting, and then we follow. Stuff like that. I hope that's not the case. I strongly doubt it, to be honest with you. It's gonna be I wouldn't say fast paced. I would say perhaps a normal pacing of fighting actions from the characters. And so remember, they only have Spring and 11 left. Yeah, I'm saying that way. Well, technically it's Spring and 10, but I don't think Brandish is not out of commission, but we'll see what happens with her soon. And again, Aja is the only one defeated. Everyone else is coming in. Well, at least Demira and Wall. So other than that, the chapter was decent. I didn't mind the chapter so much. At least it provided some comedy segment. The ending shows some promising that everybody's gonna jump in. Hopefully the consummate gets in there, and hopefully it doesn't drag a lot for this war arc, because it doesn't need to be that way. Hopefully we don't go a year, 2 years. Oh, actually, a year will be okay. 2 years, maybe. 3 years, no. 4 years, God no. So let's hope that's not the case. So now for the Q&A section. And this one, I was going to talk about in my anime manga news section, but I decided to save it here. And this is actually a crucial moment for everybody. Especially, again, I found out the whole Tokyo Ghoul didn't get any spoilers because of the situation that's going on. Boku no Hero Academia has not been translated due to lack of source. We'll get to the answer right now. So here's a question I got from them. I found out the news. I wrote a post in my Tumblr page. I wrote it about what an eerie feeling I'm having about this whole situation. But one person would like to reply to my eerie feeling, apparently. And the question goes by my thoughts. Yeah, that's about it. But seriously, this is the question. It's about the whole situation with the whole. Now that the three men got arrested for the manga source pages, what is exactly going to happen in the future? Is it going to be lack of updates or anything like that? What is exactly going to happen now with the scanlation? Well, here's the thing. Three men. Here's a news report to go. Let's go with the news report first. The thing is, there's three men got arrested. They got arrested due to the fact they were posting. They were sending to their source of Weekly Shonen Jump magazines, Chinese edition, much earlier than the appropriate release. So they're sending them out, and of course, this is illegal. And the source ended up turn out to be Manga Panda. And yeah, something that we actually know about. It's not like I never heard of that website, so I wouldn't know. This one is something like, wow, we actually know that site. So anyway, they got caught. They're denying charges. They were claiming they were just being delivery guys. They were just only delivery and stuff like that. I don't know the full story of it, but that's the case. Therefore, because of that, there are people that are lacking source material to get the translation, source material to even get the chapter themselves. And it seems like Boku no Hero Academia is in fact affected by it, because the chapter you usually release around Friday, and you could try to argue that Friday was an appropriate time because what happened, but I do believe before that, is the case of, because the fact that three men got arrested and the lack of sources is going to be much harder, if not might even turn down the entire translation work itself. I mean, there's three men. I don't know. You could always get new men, and whoever's brave enough to even do it. But the fact that we don't, the fact that they got caught, and the fact that we didn't get no chapters, or we even get chapters in a much later schedule. But then again, those guys probably got it before they were caught, apprehended. Now you could say we got more other people, such as Manga Stream and everyone else, sure, but think the idea that they could get caught themselves, and the idea that getting early spoilers is no longer being case. So, of course, new men could arise and just do the work for them. Who knows? Point being is that this actually happened at this time of schedule, and there's a reason why we're not even getting any spoilers. And not only that, but if it keep going and going, might be the time that we have no fan translation, and that could be a little bit scary thought. I mean, on one hand, justice is somewhat served because, this is a legal thing to do. On the other hand, I feel like, man, what are you referring? Because I feel like I want to support them. There's different kind of news I'm hearing from the Tumblr posters, and yeah, I know, not the best source, but it's not about news. It's more like interpretation. In terms of it's more of a speculation, if anything. Like, why we didn't get any Tokyo Ghoul spoilers? Well, here's the reason. And they link to the news from Anime News Network. So again, I'm having this little bit eerie feeling because it's like I want to support them. I need my translation. Again, as I mentioned before, I know they have official translator. I know they have official application to read the weekly Shonen Jump, the weekly Shonen Jump Alpha. Are they still calling that? Anyway, I know they have those. I know, but they don't have every series. They don't have the series I read. They don't have the series I care the most. And, that's troubling. And it's just like, they are series that want more attention as well, and then they won't get translated because they stop getting leaks. Now, granted, you could always get the source material by just waiting. It's true, but you never know. Maybe sometimes they will stop providing it completely because maybe it will get out of hand, and maybe it will be not only just be a late chapter releases, but maybe it will just not be there at all. You never know. Anything is possible. They try to close as much as possible to, leak everything. And not everybody wanted to help in the way they normally could do. I mean, you could do that, sure. I wouldn't mind. But, at this rate, if Tokyo Ghoul is being halted, I'll probably end up getting the chapter first than all you guys. Because I found out there's a bookstore that I could actually buy the magazine. And I'm actually tempted to do that. But I'll see what happens in the future. I'm actually a little tempted. I see the weekly Shonen Jump one. I was like, ooh, cool. I see the Kodashan one. I see a lot of different magazines. It's pretty cool. I found the Young Jump one with Tokyo Ghoul, One Punch Man, and other sort of series. So, but still, I would like to still release them in a much early release. And it's only manga panda, sure, but it could seem to be affected, and it seems like this piracy. Well, it is pirates thing. A lot of people might lose their patience, and they're gonna start getting used to the official release one, the official release date, which is fine by me, I guess. Still, it could go more than that. I mean, look at YouTube. It's this whole music thing. They take out all the OS soundtrack. They take out every official thing. The only way you could actually get them is when they actually officially posted themselves, which is bothersome. It's really bothersome. And I'm not trying to encourage everybody to go always get free music, free movies, and everything. But sometimes we want to sample. Sometimes we just want to know. We just want to hear it one time, and then we probably decided, I'm going to buy the album. I want to buy that movie. I want to buy this and that. When it comes to free stuff or leak stuff, it's more of a supporting factor. But I guess not a lot of people see it that way. And I understand that. But to me, I feel like it helps to boost sales more than damage. I mean, I could see a double-edged sword. But again, it's really hard to try to talk about this. It's really hard to say, like, are you trying to support the piracy? Not, but I guess because the inner me is so used to the way that we've been reading, the way that we get our materials, everything freedom of speech is pretty much taken away from us. So that's one thing. And these translators, they have like jobs. They're some of them probably get paid for it. Some of them are just having fun with it, and they like to do something like that. But then everything getting taken this way is like, oh, okay, that's kind of bummer. I mean, I remember Manga Stream talk about this when the other series getting their translation. They were like, no, we're not stopping because we love our job. I think it was Manga Stream. I forgot who. But I remember they were saying, like, we love our jobs and we continue doing this no matter what. Even they got a official release, which we are supporting them. Good for them. It's happy and all. You guys want our translation. You guys want to see this. And we wanted to please you, audience. So there are people that are like that. So seeing the source material might get taken down is kind of bum out. But again, you know, we still could get a chapter on the official release date. So it's not all lost, but hopefully they don't go too far to the point that we don't even get chapter at all. And you probably have to best bet on getting imports from from a website, whatever you get your magazine. Me, I could get it from my bookstore. I'm going to try one day, maybe one day. But I have to find out when these magazine comes out. Mine is Weekly Shonen Jump because they come out Mondays. But I gotta find out for the other one. But other than that, it is kind of scary still because a lot of people are so used to early release. And a lot of people are so used to spoilers and everything like that. So it's kind of bummer that all this taking out freedom of things, of piracy, whatever. You know, piracy and freedom is kind of ironic because they are intertwined. But point is, yeah, it's not all lost. It's just that we may have to get used to the new system. Not new system, more of an original system, as in normal release day. But you never know. Maybe just a one-time thing. You know, who knows? It's really hard to really say good for them. They deserve that, or damn it, we gotta support them. Or you know, it's a weird feeling. I guess I should not be the only one, but we'll see. Point is, yeah. This is the reason why everything shaking up. Hopefully everything gets sorted out very soon. Most likely I'm going to end up getting my Boku no Hero Academia chapter tomorrow, probably on a Monday, because, you know, the official one should be on the same day, right? I think so. But we'll see what happens. And that will do it for today's episode. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, despite being very short, but it will have to do. Next week, everything should be normal. I hope, because, you know, as I mentioned about the whole source material is being taken away, I guess. Yeah. So we'll see what happens, how this gonna works out. Maybe everything will be normal. Maybe it's just like, oh, that's tough luck on them. Remember, there's other translation as well. So other guys to deal with. It just seems like maybe in the future time you gotta be aware that this could happen. This can happen, actually. So, you know, we just have to wait and see how the life is gonna take us. Yeah, not much to say here because it's all done. Next week, I do plan to try to freshen these things up, making this some little nice alternation. I really gotta find that intro, damn it. I really want an intro. I'm just gonna see what I can do. Anyway, support this channel. Leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't already, spread the words to other guys, and I'll see you next time for more Sparda's World Podcast. Take care, everyone.